Joining me today to talk all things health, fitness and food is none other than one of the biggest stars in Australian sport, Andrew Bogart. How are you, mate?
How you going, mate? How's things?
Mate, fantastic. Looking really fit, mate. Great to be back at the Kings.
Yeah, it is. It's good to be back in Australia. See my first Australian summer in 15 odd years, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it's been good so far.
And mate, what have you noticed since you come back? The fans have really got behind you and the Kings?
Yeah, they have. Look, the NBL is growing at a rapid rate. It's a very competitive league, and it's just been exciting just being at home to play in front of friends and family that obviously haven't seen me play live for a number of years.
Mate, for someone of your stature to come back to the sport in Australia, huge thing to do. What was the motivation?
Oh, there's a big list of things. Family was probably number one. 2 young kids now, 82 games in the NBA, never home. And even when you are home, you're kind of on autopilot trying to focus for the next game. So wanted a bit more of a balance there. I didn't want to retire completely because I think I still have basketball in me.
Yeah.
So the next best thing was to play in Australia while I'm back here for retirement and get on that way.
Well, they say that the NBA is probably the toughest sport in the world as far as having to back up, play so many games in a week. How many games in a week would you normally play?
Yeah, around 4 to 5, sometimes 5.
Yeah.
So with travel, so it makes it very, very tough. We fly through all hours of the night and the early morning to get to the next city to get ready for them. So you got to kind of get in a good routine, and sometimes it gets messed up. You get to cities at 3 or 4 in the morning and have a game that same day. So, sleep whenever you can, essentially, and get a good meal in whenever you can as well.
So it's not that glamorous like people think.
It isn't. Look, they treat us very well. We stay in 5-star
Yeah.
hotels and we fly charter, so that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But you can't change factoring in that you're not getting sleep and you're getting banged around with time zone changes and all that kind of stuff.
But it probably put you in good stead for what you're facing now, fatherhood, mate. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. The missus does the hard yards. She's the athlete on that side of things. But yeah, a lot changes, as you know. You have a few little ones, and I think your priorities, kind of what you thought was important before you have kids, kind of go right out the window, and you realise that they're probably not that important when you come home and you can kind of forget about everything and spend time with your kids. Yeah,
and mate, you're a great role model for kids out there. Something that is really dear to your heart is getting kids active and being active. What's your thoughts on the keys to that in our society today?
Yeah, there's a number of reasons why I think sport's very important, especially at a young age, not only for fitness reasons, and we have an obesity epidemic, not only here but in America as well, and that's directly correlated to a lot of schools now taking out sport and physical education because of numerous reasons. They're making it either an elective or not having it at all.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It boggles my mind. I think it's just as important as learning English or maths. I think getting outdoors and then also teaches you about teamwork and setting you up for later on in your life. You learn how to work with people for the most part in sport. Whether you're an individual athlete, you'll have a coach. Team athlete, you'll have teammates. So when you become a worker or whatever you're doing down the line, you learn how to interact with people. You learn how to win. You also learn how to lose. And that's everyday life principles, and I think we're losing that as a society, unfortunately. Yeah,
so for all the parents out there, your advice is to make sure their kids play a team sport to build them attributes?
Yeah, and look, your kid doesn't have to be the best.
Yeah.
There's a bigger picture than just, I want him to be an NBA player or an NFL player or an NRL player. There's a bigger picture than that. Sometimes just having them participate and garner confidence and learning, hey, if I put some time in away from the game, when I come back on the weekend and play with my mates in the local league, I'm going to be better. And then also teaches you how to win or lose. We're losing that grasp where we want every kid's a winner. Yeah, you want your kid to be positively influenced, but they also need to experience the negatives and learn from those negatives, so they can build on it. Whereas whenever there's a negative these days, it's let's put them in cotton wool and you're still the best.
Yeah.
No one's better than you. Well, actually, the results say you're not. But we can fix that going forward, and I think that's what we're losing in society today.
And we're losing resilience as a result of that, and obviously, failure teaches you valuable lessons, doesn't it?
Failure to me is the most invaluable tool, not just in sport but in life, because it's the harshest critic, and it doesn't sugarcoat or PC anything.
Yep.
It basically gives you the message point blank. But it's not, people think it's a be all and end all, and in society we have that taboo that failure's kind of, it's embarrassing, don't talk about it, I don't want to tell people I failed. I treat it as like, no, you failed, it's a good thing, let's pick apart that failure. And then let's see how we can fix that, so the next time there's a game or a work project or a school presentation that I don't fail, that I get it better. And I think kids that are at the top at a young age, generally I reckon once they're in adult life, aren't at that top spot anymore because they haven't learned how to deal with failure. Whereas kids that usually start at the bottom and have to battle their whole way up, they're usually the more resilient ones that end up having these unbelievable stories from rags to riches.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, I think that's why we've got an obesity crisis, because people are afraid of failing when it comes to exercise and diet. Would you agree?
No doubt. There's a number of factors. Exercise and diet's a huge one.
Yeah.
Convenience, people being lazy,
Yeah,
people getting the easy,
Win.
thing to
Yeah.
eat sometimes. And the time and place for that, you can enjoy that in moderation. And then it's also, my opinion is political correctness. You can't call somebody fat or obese,
Yeah.
and it's not from a point of insulting somebody. It's a point of telling someone, hey, you're not going to live a very good life if you're clogging your arteries with crap. And we've got to a point where we're now saying that's offensive.
Yeah.
And
No accountability.
Yeah,
as an
isn't.
athlete, you've got accountability.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes we've got to hear the hard message of
Yeah.
something we don't want to hear.
Yeah.
That's, like I said, once again, that's sport and life in general.
Yeah.
Your boss might tell you suck and you're fired.
Yeah.
You can't cry about it. You got to
Yeah.
pick yourself up and find another job. So I'm a big responsibility
Yep.
person. I believe in personal responsibility is something we're losing in society, and that goes with diet and food
Yeah.
and nutrition, and what you put in is what you get out.
What you get
and
out.
There's a direct correlation with food, alcohol, tobacco, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's moderation.
Yep.
You can enjoy it once in a while, but if you do it every day, you're gonna reap the repercussions of it.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of food, mate, how do you fuel your body these days? Obviously, bananas are a big part of your diet. I've seen before after
Yep.
a training session, you have to replenish your glycogen stores. What's your focus these days on your plate?
Yeah, I love having bananas. Bananas and coffee for me are kind of my staple. I try to have at least 2 coffees a day.
Yep.
And always have a banana with my coffee because it's got a lot of good nutrients to potassium and vitamins
Yeah,
that
wow.
get you through a session.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of water.
Yep.
That's something I've started doing probably towards the middle of my career. Early on, I didn't.
Yep.
For some reason, and just had a trainer once tell me, like, always have a water bottle with you.
Yep.
Because even if you drink too much of it, your body will flush it out and
Yeah.
not use it, but generally it's using it.
Great tip, isn't it?
So those are very important things. Stay away from the fizzy stuff as much as you can,
Yep.
and the sugary stuff.
Yep.
And I've really cut out sugar probably the last 6 or 7 years. I watched
Yeah.
a doco about sugar,
Yeah.
processed sugar,
Yeah.
and I went on a cold turkey for about 2 or 3 months
Yeah.
completely,
Yeah.
including fruit, just
Yeah.
to see. And what happened in my body was getting headaches and all kinds of stuff for the first week, and that kind of triggered me of like, if this is having the reverse effect for me,
Yeah.
imagine what it's doing when I'm taking it. So now I try to keep my my processed sugar intake to under 45 grams a day, which is
Okay.
the daily recommended max.
Yep.
Which is, it's not much. It's
Nah.
8 or 9 teaspoons of sugar.
Yeah. Wow.
So most bottles of soft drink, I think, have between 12 and 16, 600 ml bottle.
Yep.
So that goes to tell you, you put that in along with some bread and some chocolate and this and that, and you're way over for your daily intake.
Yeah,
So I
wow.
try to just keep it under that as much as
That's
I
a
can.
great tip. And for your kids as well, I suppose now you're more vigilant about all the sugar that's in kids' food as well.
Yeah, you gotta read labels, and
Yeah.
that was thankfully the thing that I did when I went on my diet. I started reading
How
labels.
good's that? Yeah.
But you would not believe what it's in.
Yeah.
Like, it's in almost everything.
Yeah.
Like some meat,
Yeah.
whatever they marinated in might have a crap load of processed sugar, or something simple, mixed nuts and fruit in a bag. You think it's healthy, and you look and you're like, why is there processed sugar in this?
Yeah.
So you really get shocked once you start reading labels, and yeah, it'll definitely help. I give my kids a little bit. I have their lollipop every now and then, and an icy pole. But we're not force feeding them sugar. That's for sure.
No, it's a great tip. I applaud him for that. Read labels if you're out there. It takes 1 second and you'll find out what you're really eating. Mate, talking about setting goals and obviously climb to the heights of your sport, how important do you think they are for the average person out there?
They're pretty important. I think everyone's different, but generally the best thing that worked for me is a short-term goal, so a week to a month.
Yep.
A longer-term goal, which could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months to a year.
Yep.
And then a distant goal, which would be, a 3-year goal. So I think if you do those, have those 3, find a balance that works for you. What can I affect tomorrow? What can I affect in a year? What can I affect in 3 years? You generally meet whatever you want. Whether it's I want to save some money to buy a house, that's probably more of a 3 to 5 year. But you can start correcting it tomorrow. How do I correct it now? How do I correct it for a year? But I think people these days want everything today. It doesn't work that way. You got to kind of have some patience and resilience about yourself. But if you can set small targets, even for fitness, if you're severely overweight, there's no point setting a goal for you to lose 20 kilos in a year. It's tough.
Yeah.
So maybe you say, all right, this next month I'm going to lose 1 kilo.
Yep.
And the next month I'm going to try to lose 2 or whatever it is. And then in 3 years' time I want to have combined X. and then you can achieve it. I think people sometimes get frustrated if they set themselves too high over a goal too early.
Yeah.
They burn out and then they give up. So you want to have a good mix.
And there's a lot of people out there struggling, I suppose, to take that first step to get fit and change their lifestyles to be healthier. What's your advice?
Just have a crack. You know, have a crack. I think that's if you're overweight or not feeling well or you're not healthy, just have a crack and start in small doses.
Yep.
Even going for a walk every day for 30 minutes to start off, or for 20 minutes. You're going to be sore and it's going to be hell sometimes, but then you can slowly build yourself up. And probably the biggest tip I'd have is find a mate or a family member that you can go to the gym with, so you hold each other accountable. So if you want to sleep in one morning, you're like, oh, I'm going to let my mate down if I don't show up, whether it's a 6 a.m. session or whatever it is. If you can get someone to work with, there's that accountability where you don't want to let them down. When it's just by yourself sometimes, you're more inclined to say, oh, I'll hit snooze a couple of times and not go today.
Yeah, and then goes hand in hand, I suppose, mateship and whatnot. A lot of blokes are struggling with mental health these days. What's your advice to them if they are struggling?
Obviously get help, but you know, reassess your life and how you can try to better yourself as a person, and have good people around you. You know, if you've got negative people that are just taking from you the whole time, they're probably not the right people to have in your life, and I think that's a big part of it. Some of it comes down to personal responsibility, and some of it just comes down to some people might just have a bit of a medical issue that they need to get rectified. But I think there's a fine line between mental illness and people not taking control of their lives at an earlier stage, and then all of a sudden falling
surround
into
yourself
that
with
trap.
good people.
And assess your life and be honest with yourself. You know, if you're out partying every weekend and doing silly things, and then you get to 40 and you're like, I don't own a house, I don't own a car, I don't have a wife, you're probably going to be depressed. You know, so that's something that you can affect earlier, so you hopefully don't get that down that pretty dark track.
Favourite healthy food?
Banana.
Banana. And you like to have it with?
Usually a coffee.
I love that. How good's that?
Yeah.
Favourite unhealthy food or treat meal?
Right now it's schnitz.
Schnitz.
Give them a little plug. I'm a big fan of schnitz.
Oh,
it's kind of not too junky.
Yeah.
It's fried. Oh, it's pan fried. So that's a step up from deep fried.
Yeah.
But I love a good schnitzel. You know, nice little sandwich with some chips on the side.
How good's that? And mate, if you are celebrating, what's your beverage of choice?
Probably just some sort of lager, some beer. A golden lager, yeah.
Golden lager.
Yep.
And mate, music-wise, to get yourself pumped up before you hit the court, what do you normally listen to?
Just something more that won't put me to sleep.
Yeah.
So I actually have a lot of Croatian music. I actually have a Croatian background, so there's a few old rock Croatian songs I listen to. Maybe a bit of upbeat dance, that kind of stuff. But I've got a bad habit of just getting the playlist and pressing shuffle and hoping for the best.
Not a bad tip. And lastly, mate, if someone's struggling out there, get motivated to get fit, what's your tip?
Buddy up. Find a mate or 2 mates or 3 mates, a neighbour, a family member, whoever it is, and work out with them, because then you've got someone to hold you accountable that day that you don't want to go, that they'll hold you in check to show up, and you don't want to let them down, and vice versa. And I think it just helps motivation on those grueling, 2 or 3 hour days.
Awesome, mate. Absolute legend.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Thanks.